Yes, today is the last day of our week of webisodes. Teresa, I know, Teresa's Christmas card making and scrapbooking week of webisodes, but we're doing it with a bang. We've got two amazing new stamp sets.
They are Christmas stamp sets, and what I love about them is they go perfectly with two existing favorite cutting die sets that we have.
Best-selling cutting dies, I might add. And wait till you see what Teresa's done with them.
Come play with us.
And ta-da, here they are.
There they are, beautiful.
Christmas labels and trims, and you can see that this is an 8x8 size. Well, you may not.
It's a larger stamp set.
You may not be able to see it, but it is.
16 stamps on there, large labels, greetings, and while you see these on the center of these do come separately. The greetings are separate, the labels are all separate. And I love all of the extra embellishments
rich
that are
and beautiful.
on there.
Whoops. Well, on the actual package, there will be ideas on the back.
On the back as well.
Now, this matches the cutting die. You want to bring that in?
Sure. So there are the 11 labels and trims cutting dies, which match these perfectly. We also have a regular, an everyday labels and trims stamp set.
Now, tags and trims is our second one. And look at this artwork. It is just stunning.
It is.
Very much like the stunning artwork in the everyday tags and trims stamp set.
And I love this because it just fills up that area. So that tag has just got that all over. Plus you've got smaller open tags for adding greetings. It has greetings, it has these smaller embellishments as well.
And of course this is the matching tags and trims with 10 cutting dies, and everything coordinates. What's such a deal.
Even the smaller pieces, so you won't have the fussy cutting necessary. You can just do that with this.
We call those the trims. Okay, now let's see what you can do with them. Or let's see what Teresa has done. And her first card is just stunning. Look at that. It is simply white with gold, and the gold that she used is the metallic gold. This is the sheet that she cut into, did some matting.
She also used gold thin lines dazzles around those, and gold fine gold embossing powder. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that gold embossing, which is done with that new Christmas stamp set, right onto those die cuts.
And don't you love it layered like that?
It does.
So pretty. She's added some rhinestones, and just really good. Now, we know that we're going to be getting the Misty Stamp Positioner.
Stamping tool,
And so next week, you'll be able to get that at Paper Wishes. And your feeling is that that makes it even easier.
It absolutely will make it easier. You'll be able to use that tool to place your cardstock or your die cut piece right where you want it. Position the tool with the stamp on there, and you're going to be able to stamp perfectly onto those cutting dies. Makes it a lot easier.
Isn't this beautiful?
A great tool.
And that's the beauty of having a stamp set and a matching cutting die, let alone two stamp sets.
Sure.
And look here, how adding a bigger piece of that metallic gold and doing the layering. And she's added just the clear rhinestones.
And the thin lines dazzles around the edges. So that's a gorgeous card, the most basic way of using the cutting dies and the stamps.
Now let's see what else this woman has done. Okay, this one, where Teresa has cut a window out of one of the cutting dies and placed a smaller one on the inside. Isn't that pretty?
It is pretty. It's a great look. I love that that's foam taped too, so that when you close the card, it seems as if it's part of the front of the card. It's sitting up a little bit. Now, one of the cutting dies that was used, it was this cutting die right here, and you just place that on the front of your card. You want it open when you do so. Make sure that the papers are already on your card front, then run that through. That cuts your window, and you can use that as a label somewhere else, and then cut another label and do some stamping, and you have that gorgeous look.
And it is using the matching red jewels and the red border dazzles. Now, Teresa also has this flash you're seeing on the edges. She used that out of the Sparkle and Shine sheets.
These are 4" by 9" sheets. You're going to get 10 in that package. You've got all the sparkle, and then you've got a couple of mirror shine there as well. Easy to use with die cutting machines.
And there you go. You can see that. and just really stunning. Very, very pretty. You'll see everything is mentioned in the gallery, so you can see how that was put together. Now, Teresa has another take. I think the woman is in love with gold. What do you think?
Could be, and I love the gold on gold is a beautiful look. The gold embossing on the gold metallic, tone on tone is just,
isn't that,
it's just stunning.
It looks like an embossing folder, and yet it's just the gold metallic that I showed you earlier with gold embossing
What you're
powder.
seeing here is not stamping here in the background. These are from the new Bohemian Dreams paper pack.
Now, you may not think of using Bohemian Dreams for Christmas, but think again.
Now, if you look down at the front of that card, the cut edge of that card, isn't that
yes,
beautiful?
Now she's used just part of the cutting die. You're going to show us how to do
right.
that?
So you take your paper and you cut it to the size that's going to be on the front of that card. Then you slide it into one of the larger labels, and then it will cut. Now, I've got the cutting edge of that die cut right here, facing the paper, and then the rest of it is going down below. So it's not going to cut that part of the paper. It's only going to cut this edge.
So you just want to roll your machine up to that point.
Sure, that would work. You could continue. It wouldn't cut this. It might sort of press into the back a little bit, but you could just stop right there and make sure that you use stencil tape to put that exactly where you want it.
Clever.
And then that's actually 5 5/8 inch wide, so she actually cut the card down to that size as well.
How stunning this is. So she's got that cut edge. Then she did another, just cut that out of the gold metallic, cut it down.
And that's just one of the labels. Yeah. So cut that big gold label and cut the edge off and use it here. I imagine you could use the other part of that label somewhere else.
Look at those again, stacking them. How good. Okay, let's look inside. And oh, pretty.
Just beautiful.
Because those Bohemian Dreams papers have this variegated look, that ombre, you're going to get a beautiful look like this. And warmest wishes are there. The stamps and cutting dies just nest so beautifully.
They do. I do appreciate that about our papers. They have such depth and so many different designs. You can use that as a focal very easily, or your background, without having to treat it with anything else.
Don't forget this technique, because that's gorgeous.
Okay.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Don't forget
okay, now we're going into the tags, and here's Teresa's first card. And in this case, you can see a couple of the stamps are this beautiful, beautiful artwork. And she has elected to do that with a resist technique. So you want to talk about that?
So white embossing powder went stamped on white cardstock, so you've got that embossed, and you wouldn't be able to see it, and so then you use distress inks. Just move them around with a stylus. You can use a mini stylus, and
it's actually the mini ink blending tool.
The mini ink blending tool. That's the round one,
yes.
I believe. And she used 3 different distress inks. She's got Mowed Lawn, Barn Door, and Forest Moss. And you just ink up your mini ink blending tool and just go around in circles and add those colors. So she actually added a little bit of that Forest Moss down at this end and the red at the other end to darken that up.
The stamp set, and of course the cutting die, gives you the option of this open area with the beautiful artwork, or completing the artwork. And I love how she's layered them, and I love the idea of going sideways with the tag. I think that's always so fun.
I love the embellies on her bows and on the tags. It's such a big, beautiful, buttony sort of a statement, and very simple to do because it has those prongs on the back.
Right, and it just does. And what you want to do is insert the brad and then press down, open up the legs of the brad and press down so it's nice and flat when you glue it onto the front of your card. Now inside, she's reversed her colors. Okay, green on the big one, red on the little. Red on the big one, green on the little.
So just a little reverse operation there, just a little bit of the bows on the inside so you can close your card pretty flat.
And how easy that is.
Very
how
sweet
pretty
look.
That is.
That's a nice Christmas card.
That is a beautiful Christmas card.
I want to get that one.
Now, well, you play your cards right, we'll see. Okay, here is the same stamp, you can see right there, done with a very different method.
A different look, a different method. So we're talking about Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Flakes.
We are, and this is the mulled wine.
And done on an ivory cardstock and on a black cardstock.
Wow.
Be sure and check out the product videos on those. You should be able to find a demo or more webisodes. We've done
right.
so many webisodes on the gilding flakes.
Gilding
so
flakes
easy
and mega flakes,
to
yes.
just use the flitter glue on your stamp, stamp the image, and then add the flakes. And it's a beautiful
This
look.
is also using the Christmas cheer and bellies. We're not doing every step of every card, trying to cut down the time on the webisodes because we know that many of you watch these all the time and you've seen the demonstrations, so we're just referring you to where they are elsewhere. But isn't that gorgeous? Okay, what's inside?
It is beautiful.
Oh, and then she's done them with on the ivory cardstock.
Just gorgeous. And I love the colors behind. This is from the Christmas chalkboard paper pack. And just, I believe, yes.
Gorgeous. Just beautiful,
So
beautiful.
beautiful compliment to those colors.
I said scrapbooking, and we have not
So you better
forgotten.
show one. Here we go.
Here is this, and how rich and full this is. It's almost like opening a present unto itself, isn't it?
And the first thing I see are those die cuts, which are really fun. That's actually the paper towel.
It is.
It's the foil paper towel.
The Winter's Garden foil paper towel, which is just amazing. Now, especially for scrapbookers, but card makers too, Teresa has used them as is recommended on the package, so she's layered them with foam tape. Now we're using the very thin foam tape, the little pieces, so this isn't going to get terribly thick, but if you chose to, you can see the full image could be used all by itself. You could use these additional images elsewhere on your pages or your cards.
That would really make it flat if you needed to do that.
Right.
And I do love that the small snowflakes dazzles were placed, or those poinsettias.
Those are the poinsettias,
not
right.
the snowflakes. Right on the center of those poinsettias, and then added around.
Let me show them to you down there. This is an existing product. It's a 3-pack of tiny poinsettias. So you've got them in gold and red, and then you've got all the leaves. So you
nice
can
little
play with
addition
that.
to that. Okay, but let's talk about, well, there's a tag.
Right.
Okay, there's a tag that was die cut, and it didn't have to be stamped on this time.
Right, because we've journaled on it, so computer journaling.
But this is nice. Add a little bit of a border strip of gold down at the bottom of that paper before you die cut it, and you've got that on there.
Now, what's going on here?
Yeah, I want to direct your eye up to these beautiful border pieces, border strips of paper. And interesting thing that she decided to do, take white cardstock or whatever, scrap cardstock, take a label, cut a label with the cutting dies, and then just start tracing. And she said she started in the center, traced and edged, then moved it over, traced this edge, and then traced this end, and then you've got a border, and you just cut it out. And she cut that out by hand. She did not use the cutting dies for that, and she did that with several different labels, so you can get some different borders.
And I bet another way that you could do it, if the idea of that cutting is a bit off-putting, is you could certainly cut one, cut two, cut three,
and then just layer them.
Overlap them.
That's a good idea too.
Absolutely. So you've got the look of layering, and you can see what a really nice job that does in this composition. So, and the glitter velvet ribbon is just stunning along the edge. You can see those poinsettias.
So very fun, and not a lot of work to complete that page. Just add the elements that are just easy to add on there.
And it's very fun to have these kind of stair step going down, kind of zigzaggy, with all the embellishments around it.
I love the computer journaling that was done on here, and that you can computer journal, print it directly onto patterned paper, and then cut it out with your tag.
Right.
Center it on there, and it's a nice look.
So again, we introduce you to Christmas tags and trims.
Right. 2 great new stamp
and
sets.
Christmas labels and trims.
And of course, you know the best-selling cutting dies that we have that will work with those perfectly.
Okay, that wraps it up for this week. Teresa, you did, as always, a wonderful job, and we thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.